What up, yo? It's your boy AsisG coming at you guys with my life story, episode 18. I'm thinking about doing with these things. Thinking about actually breaking them down, editing them, and all that stuff, but we'll get into that. Anyway, episode 18. I'm just looking for a good light source. The sun's kind of falling behind some trees, so it's kind of hard to find some good light. But anyway, we're gonna pick up where we left off, which is I just wrecked my car into a curb, playing around in the rain. And here we go. So, as you guys know, I was acting silly, tried to get really, really close to a car, bang, crash. Now, I got punched in the face with the airbag. This guy hit with the airbag too. We're sitting there slumped. It's raining mad hard on us. There's mad smoke everywhere. I get out. Did I get out the car first? I looked at him like, oh. I got out the car. I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, nah, son, no way. I look at the car. I see that the whole side of my car is like destroyed. The whole, the wheel, the axle, all that stuff is just bent. And I'm just like, oh shit, I'm spazzing. I almost faint. I was just like, the stress of the thought of just breaking this car again after I went through everything I just went through. Yeah, it was almost a wrap for the boy. So what I did was I was about to like faint. Like literally, I just got so much stressed out. I didn't actually believe it was happening. And I almost fainted, but this was like slapped me out of it. He's like, psh, psh. He's like, yo, come on, chill. So we got to get this fixed. I'm like, oh my God, yo. I felt so stupid. But that was just me being irresponsible and young. Anyway, what we had to figure out at that point was, all right, we need to get this fixed as fast as possible so we can get this thing home. My tire was blown out. My rim was broken. There was no way I was going to be able to get that. I called one of my friends. He came through. We had to find a tire. Essentially, we needed a tire so we can try to, get the actual car moving. I thought if I could put a wheel on it, I can get it somewhere because I thought the rim was broken. I was just hoping that I can get it from being like where it was. So our mission that night, get a tire at all means, any means necessary, and put it on the car. So that's what we did. We ran over to the this place called the Black Hole, which is what we call it in my city. Essentially, it's a parking garage. A lot of people park their cars in and stuff. And we went on the hunt for tires. What we was able to find, because considering one of my friends used to work for a company, he was looking around in there and he found actual a tire with a rim on it, but it was inside the trunk of a taxi. But the taxi was like empty; it was just parked there. So we found that tire. What we did was we deboed it straight up, opened up the trunk, took the tire out, threw it in my friend's car, drove it all the way back. It didn't fit. So then we're looking all over the place. We go back to there. Mind you, an hour went by now. We go back to there. We find a Jeep. You know the Jeeps, the little Jeeps with the wheel on the back? We're like, We just go over there, kink, take that joint off. We was on some reckless stuff. Don't do that, though. Don't steal people's tires, y'all. Don't do that. So anyway, we go over there and we take it. And it fits on the car. It's just mad big. Like it's almost filling up the wheel well. We put it on. We get it on, we try to move the car, but it's not moving. And I can tell that the transaxle or whatever, my transmission wouldn't do it without braking. It moved, but I knew that if I kept trying to drive it, it wouldn't go anywhere. So we had to leave the car there. And I was mad upset. So I left the car there, we came back in the morning, car was gone. We're like, what the hell is going on? We go and search every freaking place and find out that the car is in a tow in some shop, and the cops are looking for me. So I gotta go contact the cops. I contact the cops. They're like, yeah, are you who you are? Blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, is this your car? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah. Well, your insurance is gonna have to cover this because we know that you hit another car. I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, we found pieces of your rim inside the other person's rim that you sideswiped. I'm like, I didn't sideswipe nobody. He's like, yeah, but you messed up their rim. And I looked at their rim and had like 4 scratches on it. Meanwhile, my whole car is destroyed. And they're like, oh, yeah, we need the blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Whatever. What ended up happening is this was another $1,000 of damage. Now just think about it. I just got $1,000 paid from a loan that I have to pay off and deal with. Then I go and find out $1,000 more of damage on the opposite side of my car in the same area. I'm sick. My mom finds out about it. She's pissed. Everybody's pissed. I don't have no car. What ends up happening is my mom was like, made a deal with me saying like, hey, you're in New York, you're getting into a lot of trouble, this and this. What I need you to do, if you want to get this car fixed, I'll have my sister's husband fix your car, but under one condition. I was like, what? What's the condition? He's like, you're going to have to come back to Virginia. I'm like, oh. But at this point, given everything that had happened when I was homeless, given everything that was going on, and given the amount of tolerance that I had, I couldn't really deal with much more bullshit anyway. So I was just like, fine, I need a break. Long story short, just to skip over some stuff, I stayed with my aunt for about a week and a half. They got the car fixed. As soon as that was done, what happened? As soon as the car was fixed, I pretty much went and told everybody, like, yo, I'm leaving. I got to go back to Virginia. I told Mia. She was pretty sad. Funny thing is, I don't remember too much about that because I think I was just really pissed off at her still. So I was like, I told her I was leaving. I'm like, yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back when you're 18. It was about June in the summer. And the next year in February, she was going to be 18. So we already went through 2 years. Now it's the third year when she turned 18. I met her when she was 15. I met her when she was 14. She turned 15 real quick. Then we went 2 years through this whole situation where we're at now. And here we are, one more couple, like maybe like 6 more months. And then she'll be like, 18. And then we get this popping because, we made that whole deal of as soon as you're 18, you're going to try to do what you got to do to get more freedom so that we can be together or we can do what we need to do to, get out of that whole trap that you're in. She understood that. This was our whole goal the whole time. So I said, I will leave now. It is June. I will be back in February to deal with you and to get you and do what we got to do, even if it means I got to take you back to Virginia. So that was my goal. That was me leaving. I was going to leave to get everything ready for her. So long story short, I bounced. Now I'm out in New York. Everybody said bye to me. We're gone. Here we go. Now we're in Virginia. As soon as I drove into Virginia, I think I had it was raining. I'm skipping something. Let me go back a little bit. The night before I left, I spent with Mia the whole night, and as soon as I left her, I drove to Virginia. So I was with her the last night, and I told her all that stuff. So here we go. I get to Virginia. Now I'm back with Steve again. I'm back with my mom and my sister. Now my sister is prepping to go to New York for her last year of high school. So she's getting ready to leave in September. She's going to move to New York with my father. My father moved, right after I left, my father moved from the mountains where he was directly in the center of my city. So he moved from there directly to the center of my city. So when he's in the center of my city, he had a nice little 7-story apartment and he was chilling up there and he was getting things ready for when my sister came. So my sister was going to leave in September. I'm in Virginia in June. Here we go. First thing I do as soon as I get to Virginia is get a job right off the bat. It was quick. I got a job at a McDonald's. I'm working late shift. It was cool. I didn't know anybody. I'm working there. I meet this one kid named, I don't remember his name. Let's call him Shane or Sean. What is it? They started with an S. I don't remember his name. Anyway, I met this white dude. He was really into cars. Now, y'all should know, most people that are in Virginia, where I was in Newport News, were car beasts. Like, everybody was nice with cars. Everybody knew how to fix them. Everybody knew how to deal with them. Everybody I ran into knew what they were doing. So we were there, right? Chilling. And what ends up happening is we're like, all right, nice to meet you, blah, 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 blah. He's working, he's training me. And what ends up happening is I chill with him a couple days to learn how to do what I already knew how to do because I didn't let them know I worked at another McDonald's. Oh, yeah, I did. But they had to train me on a different position. I wasn't in the front. I was in the back flipping the burgers. I was flipping them burgers, niggas, flipping them burgers. But for real. So I'm flipping them burgers and whatnot. I worked there for like 2 weeks. Third week comes, this kid Sean's like, yo, Ace. Yo, come over to my house, son. Let's chill. I'll show you my car. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool. I go over his house. He has his hatchback. It's like a light blue hatchback. 88 Civic hatchback. Completely gutted. I mean, like, gutted to the point where there was no reinforcements on the door. There was only one seat, and it wasn't even really a seat. It was pretty much a metal box with an engine in it. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to get this joint all fixed up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, that's cool. I'm glad. That's really cool. Mind you, my car is just kind of chilling. It's all right, but it's not, it's in bad condition after everything that happened. So he's like, yo, let me, come over next weekend and I'll introduce you to some friends. And here's where some more people come into the play that are going to be big parts of the story coming up. I go over there the next weekend. I meet this guy named Ike. I meet this guy named Keno and Ike. These two people. Ike is like an older dude. He's like 36. He's really cool. Keno is this little extravagant, extroverted, light-skinned kid that looks kind of weird, but he's cool. And when I first met them, they were all hype and everything. They were all talking about all kinds of stuff like, yeah, we did this and we did that. Coming to find out, essentially, they were friends with a guy that was, they all were part of a clique. And that clique used to, like, flip mad, ecstasy, and all this other stuff. And all the money they would get would go into cars. So all these people had the same thing in common where they were all into cars. So I was just like, oh, that's really cool. But anyway, long story short, after meeting Ike and Keno, I essentially just start chilling with them more than I start chilling with Sean. So what ends up happening is I start playing a lot of video games and sports games and all this other stuff with them. We're always talking about cars. And then a couple weeks go by, we're all getting cool. It's been like 2 months, now it's August. They're like, yo, do you want to go to an actual car show? I'm like, what do you mean car show? You guys have car shows around here? They're like, yeah, like, yo, come with the clique, because, you know, we always go. We're going with a couple people. I'm like, who are you going with? We hear the doorbell ring, ironically, right, when I say who you going with. And then they're like, oh, they're right here. 2 dudes walk in. Little Asian kid named Danny that does nails. He's mad cool. And this big, tall, black dude they call Bruce. So here we go. We have big, tall, black Bruce. We have little Asian Danny. We have light-skinned, obnoxious Keno. And we have cool-ass older Ike. That's the clique. And then there's Sean, but Sean, nobody deals with Sean like that. So we have these 4 dudes, and we all go out. These are the cars that we have. I have my Eclipse. Danny is driving an S2000, a yellow one. Bruce was actually in the S2000 with Danny, so Bruce was driving the S2000. Ike had some Acura, and Keno was with Ike. So it was 3 cars deep, right? Now, mind you, it's the first time I go out with them. We go to this Home Depot parking lot. We're in the parking lot chilling. There's mad cars out there, all kinds of cars out there. Mad tuner cars, mad people. I have my car out there. I have all my neons on, and it's looking mad cool. People are coming up to me, talking to me about it. I don't know too much about cars yet. Bruce is over there telling me about some crazy stories that he's had about driving. Bruce is an excellent driver. He's reckless as hell, but he's a good driver. Ike is a good driver. Keno, I never really got to see if he was a good driver. Danny, I don't know. But essentially, we're all chilling there. Me, Danny, Bruce, Ike, and Keno. Some dude comes up with a car just like mine. He's talking to me. He has a GSX. So it's an all-wheel drive, turbocharged one. But his joint's mad quick, and people know him for being, like, you know, mad known. So he's like, yo, what's up? Yo, my name is blah, 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 blah. I think his name was Brandon. And he's like, yo, my name is Brandon. What's good? What's good? I'm like, yeah, my name's Ace. I'm from New York. This is my car right here. It's just a GS, blah, 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 blah. You know, we're going over the stuff. Bruce comes up and goes, hey, yo, son, yo, blah, 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 wants to race right now. He about to put a fucking stack up. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, ain't nobody gonna put a stack up for a race. He's like, no, we do that. We do this. I'm like, so if somebody's gonna race you for a stack, you got a stack like that? And he's like, yeah, I got a stack. I'm like, yeah, right. He's like, word, you don't believe me? Nigga reached in his back pocket and pulled out a stack. I was like, yo, you crazy? He had 10 hundreds. I'm like, you guys really be racing for money like that? This ain't a movie? Y'all dead serious? He's like, yeah, we do that. I'm like, where do y'all race? He's like, there's this strip down into there's 7 cities in Virginia in the center. And one of them was in, like, I think they wanted to race in, like, it's Newport News, there's Hampton, there's Williamsburg. That's where they wanted to go. So he's like, we're going to go to Williamsburg. I'm like, all right, I don't know where that is. I was like, all right, well, we're gonna drive across some long bridge. It goes underwater. It comes back up to the top. Now, mind you, at this point, I'm a good driver. I got a lot of skill behind the wheel. I'm really nice with driving. I understand how it works. But I'm not battle tested like that. Like, you know, I haven't really been in races and all kinds of stuff like that. So there's different techniques for different things. We all get in the cars. I'm driving mine. They're in the S2. Ike's in the Acura. We all take off. Now, mind you, 60-something cars are all rolling out to the same place to watch this race. Imagine 60 cars. Imagine 60 cars, right? On a highway. On a 3-lane highway, all tuner cars flying, man. I mean, there's so many of us. I was somewhere in the middle. The S2000 was ghost. He was in the front. Everybody's racing. Essentially, 60 cars are racing to this spot. So we're all racing. We're doing an average of 85. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but that's pretty high considering everybody's doing 85 and just weaving in and out of traffic. It's hard for me to get in the front of the pack because I don't have the speed to do it, but I'm still keeping up. I'm not in the back. Ike's right behind me. Ike's he's testing me, trying to get around me. I'm not letting him get around me. I'm like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I'm like dipping in and out of cars. He's right behind me. We're just out. It's like we're like in unison, just moving. We start going down the hill, going into the underground water bridge. We're in there, and it's the first time I've ever been in there. So as soon as we hit in there, all you hear is woo, because everybody's cars just echoing all over the place. So I'm like, oh, this is sick. I roll down the windows, I drop gear, bam! I'm doing like 100 at this point. Ike's right on my ass. Like, he's literally like, he's like right there. So we're flying. I see mad cars weaving. He stays right behind me. So everywhere I'm moving, he's right on me. I'm like, damn, this guy's good. He's like right with me. And then we get back out. We go up, like you go down a hill, and then you go up a hill, and you go out of the tunnel. So we get up the hill. Ike comes flying from the side of me, drives up next to me, and he's looking at me like this, and just takes off down the street. I'm like, oh, it's the first time I've actually dealt with mad people doing crazy stuff in cars. And then there's like some Civics behind me spazzing out. There's like 350Zs. It's crazy. So we finally get to the spot. It's a one way in, one way out. I didn't like that. We all drove in. It's like this factory. We all drove in. All the cars drove in and parked on the grass. Boom, boom, boom. Now that sounds so fake, right? It sounds like a movie. But really, we all parked in a line on the grass. There's this long ass straightaway in the back. It's like a road. It's a road for the trucks that go into the factory. But it's mad long, it's mad flat, and it's mad straight, and it goes all the way down, and you can see. So 2 cars go all the way down to the end, and the guy with the Eclipse and the other guy, he was racing another Eclipse. So it was 2 Eclipses racing, 2 GSXs. And I think they were racing to see who was the fastest out of that particular area, that city. So one was from Newport News and one was from Williamsburg, but the guy from Williamsburg was already, came up to the car show in Newport News. So they line up, and they're warming up their tires. So it's the first time I've ever seen something like this. I'm standing there, and someone told me that the car has like 400-something horsepower. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, you serious? He's like, yeah, it does. That's why Brandon's putting $1,000 up. No one's beating him with the same car that he's had. He's beating every other GSX. I was like, oh, so that's why he's putting the stack up. So he lines up, he revs up, wham, takes off. Literally, I'm looking at him, right? I'm looking at the car sitting right in front of me. I'm trying to show y'all. He's right in front of me. As soon as he dropped gear, it was like, wham. I didn't even see him anymore. It was like he's there, boom, he's gone. And I was like, oh, I looked up the street, he's flying down the street. That all-wheel drive was crazy. I'm like, damn, he's gonna race somebody? He's like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, he's gonna get that stack. Bruce is trying to do it because Bruce is going to get $100 out of it if the guy wins because he set up the race. So Bruce is mad happy. Bruce is actually the one dropping his hands. So they line up. Everybody's spazzing, son. Everybody's like, yeah. I get this really weird feeling at this point. In real talk, I get this really weird feeling. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, Ike, because he's right next to me. I'm like, Ike, there's only one way in and out this place, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so there's only one way in and out, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so why the hell do they come here? What if somebody comes? No one ever comes. I'm like, but if somebody came, how do they get out? He's like, no one ever comes. I'm like, but if they did, he kept telling me no one ever comes. I got pissed off and I stopped asking. So the race is about to begin. They take off. The race starts. Boom, they take off. Brandon takes the hell off. The black Eclipse takes the hell off. I'm like, what? They're flying down the road so goddamn fast, I can't tell who's in front. They get all the way down the street, and I don't know what the hell happens. They come flying back up, right? And I find out on the way back up that the black car actually, it's the best out of 3. They're going up, they go down, they go up again. On the way up, the black car actually won. Brandon came back down, and Brandon was in front when he came back down, so it was 1-1. I walked up to the car, and Brandon, I was like, yo, how did you lose? He's like, I missed 3rd. I'm like, oh. I'm like, all right. He's like, yo, but I got him, though, because when he did beat him, he smoked him. So on the way back up, they were going to go all the way down. So it's like a quarter this way, a quarter one way, a quarter this way, half a mile back the other direction. So that's why they have the 2 cars down there. They have one at the quarter mile. They drive down until they get to about a quarter mile and they stop. And then they drive down, another person will drive down to a half a mile and stop. And they'll be facing sideways so they know where the finish line's at. So last time they line up, I could have sworn, and me and a couple other people could have sworn we heard sirens. Just like whoop, whoop, one of those. But everybody else was like, nah, we didn't hear that. I'm like, yo, did you hear that? He's like, yeah, I heard that. I'm like, oh, yo. I'm like, yo, I go by my car. So I'm going all the way away from Ike. Ike follows me by my car. My car's like, maybe like 10, 20 feet away from the road. I'm like, yo, what are we going to do? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yo, because we just heard sirens. Maybe somebody's coming. He's like, nah, nobody's ever coming. No one ever comes here. I'm getting really tired of hearing that. So I'm like, whatever, man. So they take off one last time. Whoosh. Brandon wins. They come driving back. Brandon's in the middle of the road. He's spazzing out. He drives up on the grass over the curb, comes down. He's right where he's in the grass. He gets his money. He has his money. He's counting it. No joke. As soon as I watch Brandon count the last 20th $100 bill, all you hear is skr. We turn up, we see a black van come flying down the road from the opposite direction where they were racing. Black van come flying down. We're like, Before anybody even did anything, people were just frozen like, yo. We started backing up. Son, literally, as soon as we seen the black van come up, the black van comes to a halt. Stops. We're like looking at it. Next thing you know, you hear skirt. You hear cars cutting into the parking lot. It's fucking cops, my nigga. It's unmarked cops. It's regular. It was like 12 cop cars. They all came rushing in. One stopped and turned sideways in the front. Everybody ran. Everybody runs, right? They run all the way to their cars. I get in my car. Ike's running his ass off. Ike jumps over the hood, jumps into his car. We all take off. We're almost running into each other. We get all the way down to the exit. And you know what happens? We see the cop car in the exit. We're like, oh, we're done. Cops like, everybody pull over. Everybody pull over. Everybody pull over. He just kept saying that. Everybody pulled over. Imagine 50 to 60 cars in a line. Now, Brandon was already in the grass, so he was already in the car. He tried to get out first. He's in the front. I'm like the 6th car. Ike is right behind me. Bruce and Danny are all the way in the back. Bruce has a suspended license, so if he gets caught, he's going to jail. Won't see his kids no more. This other dude, Brandon, has a suspended license, and he's on his last chance, so he goes to jail automatically if he gets caught. And he was talking to me about that earlier. So he's like sitting there. I'm sitting behind the black car. So it's the black Eclipse, me, Ike, and then a bunch of other cars. And a couple cars in front, and in the front is Brandon. So Brandon's like, because like I heard him yelling out. He's like, yo, I'm not going back to jail. He's yelling out the car. The cops got out the car. They made every last person take their keys and put them on the hood. They had the guns drawn and everything. They're like, take your keys out the car ignition and put them on the hood right now. So we all put them on the hood. The cop that put him on, that made us do that drove his car directly in front of Brandon's, facing frontward. So he wasn't blocking the exit no more, but we couldn't move. All the keys were out on top of the hood. Tell me how one of the dudes that had a red Civic, he was also another person that had a suspended license, and he had a warrant for his arrest. He was talking about that too, because everybody got into a conversation about their license and stuff, and how 90% of people there didn't have a legitimate license. The dude in the back in the red car in the red Civic literally he grabbed his keys, started the ignition, cop looked at him, drawing the gun out at him. He took off. Bang, bang. He went straight for the cop car that was in like kind of blocking it because he moved up. He went halfway on the curb, bumped the cop car, boof, which made enough room for other cars to go through, and took the fuck off. Every single cop that was there jumped in their car and went after that guy. As soon as they went after him, Brandon took the fuck off. His whole back end kicks out. He takes off. Ike's like, fuck that. I hear Ike scream down. Keno's like, let's do it. Let's go. They jump in the car. Well, they already in the car. They grab the keys. Let me go down here. So they grab the keys. Everybody's out, son. Everybody jumps in the car. They're taking off. I'm like, fuck it. Why not? I don't want to get a ticket. I take off. We all pull out the thing, and next video we'll pick up on what happened next. I hate leaving y'all with the cliffhangers, but next video we're gonna talk about what ends up happening after we take off. I'm gonna tell you right now, some people crash, some go to jail, some never get their license back again. It's pretty crazy. Next video, I'm gonna let y'all niggas know. And this is just the beginning of what went down in Virginia. A lot of car-related things happen. A lot of you'll see. Next episode, I got y'all. This is episode, what is this, 17? No, this is 18. Yeah, episode 18. So I see y'all with the next one, which will probably be a couple days from now. It's your boy AsisGalvin. I'm out. 1.